Low Fuel Motorsport is adding Rfactor2 support to their popular online ranked racing solution that currently supports Assetto Corsa Competizione. In this video, I'm going to tell you why they really need to have Radical SR3 races, and in order to do that, we are jumping into the Radical SR3 for a little bit of a race around Donington with the AI. Go! Now, you may not know this, but you will by the end of this video, but I am an absolutely ridiculous monster fan of the Radical SR3, and in fact the Radical brand itself. They're the best cars in the world. That's it, end the video. Now, before I say why they should support this car, I will first start by saying, obviously, every man and his dog is going to be saying, oh, why don't you have my car in this ranked service? I want this car, this is my favourite car, this is my favourite car, we should do this car, you need this car, Low Fuel Motorsport, support my car. And I'm not doing that. I promise I'm not doing that, and Low Fuel Motorsport needs to ignore everybody else apart from me. Now, first of all, obviously, I think Low Fuel Motorsports, and this is what I think they will do, they should support GT3 and Rfactor2, because obviously people driving on Low Fuel Motorsports are coming from ACC GT3 cars, and they'll probably also be looking to want to drive GT3 cars in the sort of World Endurance Championship. That's probably what happens when you do a wet race. World Endurance Championship races, and they want to do GT3 with prototypes, mixed class, you know, so it makes sense for Low Fuel Motorsports to support that at first. You've got to get the view numbers, you've got to get the numbers of people into a online ranked system before anything else. And obviously, I think GT3, the disease, the cancer that it is the most popular and will always draw people in to anything. And as I say, ACC is a GT3 sim, so that's what the player base is probably expecting. That said, if they're going to support anything outside of GT3, I think the Radical is a really, really good choice. And it's not just because it is the best car, or I think it's the best car in the world, but it's because of specific reasons. One, it's actually a similar pace to a GT3 car. It's slightly faster through nippy corners due to it being lighter. I think it's got slightly faster acceleration, but it's slower at high speeds. Overall lap time is slower, but I think it's give or take. It's similar, somewhat similar to a GT3 car in terms of speed and pace. So GT3 drivers will be quite familiar with it. Unlike a GT3 car, though, it has absolutely phenomenal dynamics in terms of how you can pop the rear of the car out through corners, how you can choose to overdrive it, balance the car at the limit, really manipulate it, and actually experience the real joy of driving. The fundamental driving dynamics of a Radical SR3 are absolutely superb. But really, where I think the Radical SR3 is perfect for an online ranked system is that the type of racing you get with this class of vehicle is just really, really dynamic. You have quite a lot of draft from other cars, so that acts as a sort of automatic catch-up, if you will. But because it's not too wide, and because it's got that little bit of downforce, and because it's quite a grippy vehicle, you really see a lot of to and fro, a lot of overtakes, a lot of options for racecraft that many other types of vehicles, especially tin-top vehicles, just can't offer. And you get all that, basically very similar to Formula racing, you get all that in a package that's a lot easier to get to grips with, and a lot easier for people that are more familiar with tin-top cars to drive, as opposed to a Formula vehicle where once you get to a full-on Formula vehicle, you start getting to super mega monster downforce and pure aerodynamic type handling characteristics, which I personally really like and I think are fantastic. But the Radical SR3 strikes that perfect balance between downforce and mechanical grip. And to make things even better, the Rfactor2 version of this car is, I think, the best Radical SR3 that we've currently got in a racing simulator. Bizarrely, the Radicals are completely underrepresented in driving simulators. There's an RX-8, I believe it's called, and an SR10 in iRacing, but neither of them drive anything like a real vehicle. The SR8 is quite fun, but the SR10 is just depressing. It sounds like a bus opening its doors, and it drives like a broken GT3 car. Whereas this and Rfactor's 2 envisionment of the Radical SR3 is just... it's just what you expect from the vehicle. Now, I'm not completely talking out of my arse when it comes to the handling of a Radical, as I have actually been around Donington as a passenger in an SR3 in real life, absolutely driven at the limit. So I know exactly what this vehicle is capable of doing, and it's very similar to this. Like, it's actually creepily similar to what Rfactor2 represents with the vehicle. As a huge aircraft takes off from East Midlands Airport. Absolute madness. Gotta love Donington. What a track. So, I don't think there's any more to be said really, other than Low Fuel Motorsports, if they don't do radical racing, they'll be absolutely missing out on something that would be, I think, perfect for an online matchmaking system. I also think it's going to be really interesting with the Low Fuel Motorsport support if this is finally the thing that revives Rfactor2 or actually gets Rfactor2 running. I've been a player of Rfactor2 since the early days, since the beta of Rfactor2, and it's just never really got off the ground, which is quite weird because there have for quite a while now been some phenomenal pieces of content in it, but you know, everyone's lost in simulators like iRacing, mostly due to the online ranking system. If you're going to do proper racing, you need ranking. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Low Fuel Motorsport and Rfactor2, and that we might finally have a simulator that has cars that actually drive like cars and also has phenomenal force feedback with a rating system. It'll be beautiful, guys. It'll be absolutely beautiful. Unlike my driving. Now we've just got a few more corners in. We're ending this race. I've got to finish this race, but what I will say is, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should Low Fuel Motorsports support the Radical SR3? I definitely think they should do the World Endurance Championship stuff. As I say, that's what people would expect from LFM, what with people coming from ACC, and that's what ACC misses. Maybe it's a safe bet for them to stick to GT3 with Rfactor2, but then the downside is that just means they've got two sims with GT3. Though personally, I think I'd rather play Rfactor2 GT3 than ACC, but you know, I definitely think something like the Radical is a spot-on thing, rather than going for BTCC or God knows what rando Rfactor2 content. I definitely think either way though, whatever they pick, they need to keep it minimal and simple, and not risk diluting the user base over too many different types of car, which is the kind of problem we've seen with many online ranked systems. They just have so many race series, so many different vehicles. No, what you need to do is you just keep it to one simple thing. That's perfectly fine for ranked racing. How many hours was I driving Live for Speed BLGP in the Fox car alone? Just one car, that's hundreds of hours of gameplay we got out of that. On iRacing, drive the Skippy for God knows how long in the F4 car. You don't need lots of cars. That actually just breaks online ranking systems. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you guys think in the comments, but of course they need to put the Radical, they need to go for the Radical. That's all that they need to do. Till the next one, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Thanks for clicking the like button, thanks for subscribing, thanks for following us on Twitch, thanks for not passing out. Take care, and goodbye, guys.